Okay, everyone on the G3 boardroom today, we are going to be talking about Planet Unknown. It's a tile placement game. You're trying to get maximum coverage and you score points by finishing rows or columns and not having meteors on your rows or columns because that negates the scoring for that.
I did lose a point because of this meeting.
Oh, okay.
It cost me a point.
Yeah, on our playthrough, he crushed us. Jason crushed us. I got 1 million meteorites on my board, so I got like.
I only count 7. He cleaned up, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was left with 7, but that
Cleaned up 6. Still
my
had
planet
seven.
scoring was
You
way low.
only ended up with 7. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I was doing great.
A word on. We'll start with components for this game. I think it's an interesting game, but I think the components are really good enough. But this Lazy Susan really sets it off as very interesting, makes it unique. It's sturdy enough, as long as you don't got animals or small children jumping on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's good enough.
That's pretty solid.
The meteorites and the life pods, they're, again, good enough. You're not going to do anything with them. You're not going to break them at all. Then you got these little plastic cubes to keep track. My only problem is I do not like the ones that cover for gray, because you drop that on your carpet, it's gone.
Yeah, clear.
Rovers are nice, and the pieces themselves are nice. They're machined well enough that they fit together and they're not all jagged. We had a problem with another game, Isle of Cats. Remember when we played Isle of Cats?
yeah.
Bob wasn't there.
Wouldn't
When we
quite
played Isle of Cats, you got pieces that don't fit. They're not machined properly. These are machined nicely, so they stick all together. The card stock is good enough. You know me, I'd still sleeve those. But they don't get that much play. And so you'd be able to get away with not sleeving them. You're not going to damage them. It's not a card game. You pick up the card, you read it, you set it down. You're not going to get grime all over it. They're not heavily handled. And those
I
mats
was going to
are...
say, to add to that, the company cards are nice and solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very solid.
They're two-sided as well.
And the insets make it nice and easy for those tokens to stay in place.
Right.
Yes, that's
You know,
important. That's
they-
huge.
They're good enough. Let's put it that way. For these little cubes, the insets are nicely... I really like my father's work. But my father's work, they make them really cool looking, and so the trade-off is they no longer fit in the thing. You can knock them over real easy. These pieces are two-sided. The planets are two-sided, so you got a lot of replay coming out of that stuff. So for components, I give it a high rank. It's very good on components.
Yeah.
For gameplay, I'll let somebody else take that.
Well, gameplay is fun. Replayability, there's lots because you got these tiles and you never know which tile you're going to get to choose from because you're locked in. If I'm going to choose from these two pieces right here, the outer ring and the inner ring, that means that he can only choose from this one. Bob can only choose from those two. So, it's fun when you have when you max the game out, you have 6 people playing, everyone has one to choose from. It's a really fun game to play with a lot of people. One thing interesting about the gameplay is that the tile drawing is simultaneous. So everyone draws, everyone places, and everyone moves their resource tracks at the same time, which is great because it keeps the game moving. But it kind of puts you in, kind of isolated. You don't really know how everyone else is doing. I kind of prefer, like with our playthrough, if you watched it, we kind of each took turns scoring. We did it quicker as we moved along, but I like to know where everyone's at. And to be honest, there's some people that either knowingly or unknowingly, they're going to cheat. They're going to make a mistake. They're going to score points for a water space that they're not supposed to get because the water space has to be actually on ice or a blue space to get it. So I've played this game with people that have not really known what they're doing and they inadvertently cheated. And I played this game where I've looked over and I know darn well someone knows exactly what they're doing,
Right.
but yet they're moving their pieces a lot more than they should.
I promise you, the 3 of us, Dave as well, Jeff as well, if it looks like we're cheating, we just made an honest mistake.
Right.
Because we all just love to play. There's no reason to cheat people that you want to
there
play
is
with.
zero reason. And it's
We're not
just
that competitive enough that we need
Right.
to win.
Yeah,
Right.
we're not doing this for money. And even if we were doing it for money, what kind of person's got to cheat at a freaking board game? Come on.
That's another video we're going to have to do at some point. But I promise
Yes.
you, if you go watch our playthrough, there's enough moving parts here that I promise you, somebody made a mistake. moved a piece they shouldn't have, put out a thing they shouldn't have, or did something wrong,
Oh yeah, well I had
and it
to.
was an honest
I think I
error.
might have missed a resource here and there too.
Yeah, I had
so.
to retract because
Yeah.
I played 4 turns.
Yeah. You're
Thinking that I was.
tech was Civ.
Yeah,
Right.
and so I
Right.
had to like go back and rewind a whole bunch of stuff, but it was just inadvertent, and I lost so badly. So,
I don't think it certainly didn't help.
yeah, even if I was cheating on purpose, it would not have helped.
I like the tile building games, and I love Tetris, so this was like right up the alley. Well, even though at first I wasn't really sure how I was doing it because I didn't understand all the resources and what they did, and I got a lot of meteorites at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, you did a good job cleaning them up.
yeah.
Somebody didn't do a good
Yeah.
job cleaning them up.
I did an awesome job of filling my spaces, though. I've
There
never
you go.
played this game before
Oh.
where I've gotten so many rows or columns, but since I had so many meteorites, they didn't score.
Yeah, I left, and unfortunately, I did not get a lot of small pieces in the beginning, so my board was filling up really fast. And in the future, I think I know as a strategy to kind of balance that out a little bit.
That's right. It was the Bob's not being able to play a tile is what triggered our end game.
Exactly.
I think too what happens is with a smaller game, the game takes a little longer, you have more things to choose from, and you can choose the right thing and get a nice pattern going. In a larger game with more players, the tiles go quickly.
Yeah, that's another end game when something
Right.
runs out of tiles.
Now, what was funny too was you were saying that you're building a certain way. Of course, we all were, but you get stuck with certain things. But there was one turn where you were allowed to choose what you wanted. You were in first player position, and I remember saying, "There's no rover pieces out here." He was
Yeah.
desperate to clean up the meteorites that had fallen, and he couldn't do it. And why? Bob took them all. But it just so happened that there was literally nothing you could choose from. Now, for me, my Civ got all the way up here, but that's kind of it's kind of what you get stuck with.
Yeah.
66% of the time we're playing a 3-player game, so 66% of the time you're choosing something that is the lesser of two evils as opposed to
Right.
something you
And
want.
some strategy I didn't even realize until towards the end is when I was just trying to pick something that would fit my board, ended up giving Jason 2 meteorites. So he would, whatever tile he was going to get a meteorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
was,
there's a little bit of a
Yeah.
gotcha there too, which is kind of nice.
Yeah,
You
but
could
it was,
do that.
you could do it, but you didn't do it. It was inadvertent.
Inadvertent.
So-
But I'm saying if,
Oh,
I,
you're saying you could-
if I knew more
I
about
gotcha.
it and I was looking at
it'd
people's
be tough to
boards,
do though because you're so stuck with
building. yeah.
focused on what you need to build your own. that
But
it's hard
maybe
to-
it sounds like a great plan for like the last turn. Like, I don't need anything. How can I just bork this dude?
Yeah.
Or it's good for the beginning of the game because you don't care what tiles you have because you have plenty of room to move it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can set people up from the get go to get a bunch of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I do enjoy this game. I enjoy it, but you hit on it perfectly, which is turns happen simultaneously. And so if you're playing with people that you don't trust, which first of all, why are you playing with people you don't trust? But if you're playing with people who are going to cheat you, it becomes... I play this game too where I'm just looking over at somebody and they're just moving their piece lines like, what are you doing, man? But I enjoyed it. It's a good game. I like it quite a bit. And again, my things are, each of us, our stuff is kind of a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
I built 33% of this, and the rest was just, hey, this is what I got. Another
Right.
word on replayability, the Civ cards, you play cards equal to the amount of people you have plus 1, and then you can take whichever one you want. But there's a pretty nice stack of those, and so that adds to replayability too. They have the
Yeah.
event decks here, which we didn't even play with. They're optional. I don't know what kind of horrors are waiting for us in there, but we're going to find out. But no, there's a lot of replayability in this game. There's a lot of randomness, and I truly enjoyed it. It's a good.
This one says gain an extra rover and position it on a tile you place this round. So, it might be some good stuff.
The last comment I had is sometimes when I see the amount of pieces for playing the game the first time, I feel like I'm worried I'm not going to get it. Even though there's a lot of moving pieces in this, and I think I've said it before in a couple other games, to learn the gameplay was really easy.
Yeah.
So, and what's as nice is, there's still some complexity because there's many different ways of winning the game or going about your objectives. But I still seem to catch it pretty quickly.
And you are really limited each individual turn on what you can do because you got the 2 tiles you can place.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
if you, focus on just your turn in the moment, it's not that overwhelming.
Right. You know, and I will say this, that speaks what you said. Here's this rule book here, and it seems pretty thick, and it's 16 pages,
Mm-hmm.
and to play a multiplayer game is only 7 pages.
Yeah. there's a lot of
So
examples.
7 pages allows you to play the game we played. The rest of it is variants. There's
Okay.
there's a 2-player
What
game,
ifs
a
and-
solo game, playing with the events. But it seems like it's heavy and complex, but it's not bad. And you're right. You know, you've got probably a good 100 pieces in here, but you only got to deal with 2. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, looking at all these other, you have all the resource tracks, then you have the levels for each civilization and for tech. So trying to balance those or understand where you're at. There was a few times I would question that because I wasn't quite sure how it worked, but
Mm-hmm.
overall, I think it was pretty good.
yeah, good game. I like it a
Yeah,
lot.
great game. We've been wanting to get this one on the table for a long time, and finally did. And it's a blast.
One final story about this game. This is a game that this is one of the famous games that were at Gen Con, and people are demoing it and people are playing it, and you go over to the booth to buy it and they don't have any. And when that happens, a certain person that we know very well kind of loses their temper.
Oh no, actually, I think it's good. I'm like, thank you, company, for saving me the money. I come to you with money. Do you want my money? And,
Ruined
oh, you
his-
don't? Okay, that's
Ruined
that's
his
fine.
day and complained, and I could see just
Well, that's a testament to how good the game is. They sold out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
you just weren't there early enough.
Right.
Or at the right time, because they have some
Oh.
they have some that are like, oh, you can come tomorrow between 1 and 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
And-
maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
So maybe, and then you come, and they're sold out again. It's like, oh, well, come tomorrow. Some might magically appear.
Get you to come back.
Right?
But the game is worth running down.
Yeah.
It's worth finding a copy of. It's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Are there any expansions to it, or is
There is an
Yes,
expansion
there's
to
expansion.
it.
It's okay.
Hmm. I don't know what it's about, and I don't have it.
It's
And
recent. It's pretty new.
Yeah, and so I think it's called Super Moon.
Okay. Is it
Yeah.
just different different cards and stuff? I guess.
I don't know what it's
Don't know
about.
what it's about.
It's called
If you'd
Super
like,
Moon.
if you'd like to buy us a copy of that, shoot us an email. We'll let you know. No, but my final word is it's good. It's worth running down. It's worth. I think it retails about $80.
Yeah, something like that.
About $80. You could probably catch it on sale at Barnes and Noble when they do one of their sales. It's worth your time.
In fact, I think that's where I got this one at Barnes and Noble.
I think I called you and said, "Dude, it's at Barnes and Noble. Go get it."
Yeah.
Good
All right.
game.
Well, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you.